Good afternoon and welcome to those joining. Maybe drop a note in the chat box to say hello if you've just joined. Hopefully the sun is shining wherever you are today. I know it's not quite as good as it was this morning, but it still feels like spring where I am. What about you, Ian? Sun shining? No.
It is trying. It is definitely trying.
Good. Judy? You're
Yeah,
smiling.
sun shining. Yeah,
good.
Lovely day.
Hopefully by the end of the day, when I actually get out to have a walk, the sun will be out because it just makes such a difference, doesn't it? Such a difference.
I took my opportunity midday when it was at its best, just in case. Mind you, I could have another one later.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Benefit from working from home for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I went out for a run yesterday. I'm fortunate enough, like there's a reservoir about 3 kilometers that way, so I can run to the reservoir, run around it, and come back, and it's just very peaceful. There's something quite therapeutic and cathartic about being in nature, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Right, we'll just give a minute for anyone else attending. We are recording, so people can catch up after if they can't make it. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock, so I think we will get started on our webinar today. And as I say, it is being recorded so people can catch up at another time. So good afternoon, welcome everybody to our webinar this afternoon, hosted by the AFP on the topic of offering work experience to the next generation. So if you're here along with us, you probably share our passion for this topic. My name is Ronnie Gillman, I'm the training manager at the AFP, and I'm delighted to welcome my co-hosts, Judy O'Keefe, Fleet Director at Openreach, and also Ian Cooper, Head of National Business Development at Futures for All. Before I hand over to my co-host, I perhaps would just like to set the scene on this topic that I've already mentioned we are really passionate about. This is an opportunity for us all to help young people discover a future in fleet. So how did we get here today on this topic? Many of you will know, some of our members, that we have been working for some time now on developing an apprenticeship standard for fleet, particularly looking at fleet apprentice roles. That is something we've made good progress with, but due to the changes that Skills England are making in reviewing all the existing apprenticeships, we have a slight delay on moving forward in that area. So it might be September until we really get to make more traction in that area. We will be sending out a members update very soon on that topic. Work experience, as you can understand, is very closely aligned with the topic of apprenticeship standards because it's all about young people, supporting them to help them gather the skills and the experience they need to start their careers. And of course, our joint passion here is a career in fleet. So it was through that work that I was fortunate enough to connect with Judy on this topic, and we had a really engaging conversations about our mutual passion for the topic of work experience. And this is something that's come up a number of times over the last year or so from various members about how they can get involved with offering work experience. So let me paint a picture, one that I'm sure many of you will be familiar with. You might have been a parent, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, grandparent who at some point has heard a young person say, oh, I really need to organise my work experience. And I don't know about you, but my experience in that is that people want to do something that they feel interested in, excited about, that really makes a difference or they feel is a valuable work experience week. And that can feel quite challenging and competitive in a school or a college environment to be able to get those good opportunities that they see might just unlock their steps into their future career. I know I've helped people get placements. It's also very tough for schools because, of course, they have a job to do, and trying to find employers who are able to support them is also not easy either. We'll come to, obviously, yourselves, the fleet industry employers in a moment when we talk to Judy. But again, if you might be here because you've always wanted to offer work experience, you've been asked before but not been able to offer it, you don't know where to start to offer it, or maybe you've already got a work experience program that you can offer out to young people. So whatever your backdrop today, you're very welcome here, and we hope you find it helpful to discuss this really important topic with us and share our thoughts and ideas together. The purpose of this webinar is to start this conversation together with our AFP members so we can support our members' community if they'd like to make progress in this area, to share resources amongst each other that might make that journey easier for you, and of course to work alongside Ian and Futures for All to provide the resources of which I'm sure you'll be really excited to see today. So our vision at the AFP is that if by moving forward in this project, more young people in schools and colleges can access good quality work experience, then the ripple effect of that, I think, is huge, and one we would be really proud to be a part of and to support young people, schools, colleges and employers with. So that's from me. Maybe it would be really good to just hear from Judy briefly and hand over to say, Judy, why have you become so passionate about this topic, and why do you think work experience in fleet matters more now than ever?
So if I bring everyone back to when we were having the conversation, we started the conversation about apprenticeships, and it's taken time. And on the call I said, look, why don't we control the controllables? We as an AFP membership, we could look at doing something for like an work experience week. I think I believe it's hugely important for young people. And I think actually, probably some of you know, I'm not in the industry a long time, probably about 18, 19 months in fleet. And I think it's the best place to be. And I think there is so much opportunity for young people that if they were aware of it, it would set them good in terms of giving them an indication of how to think what their future would look like. Work experience to bridge the gap from education to real life work experience. It helps with the confidence, teamwork, communication. I think it gives them an indication as to what they may want to do for the career, because as we all know, in fleet, it's a vast array of different areas you can work in, from resourcing, planning, OEMs, vehicles. It's the best place to be. I think also most employers actually are more engaged with young people who have done some valid work experience. It gives them a little bit more credibility that they've done that as well, and it helps with their employability. So again, I think as a cohort in the fleet industry, we have a massive opportunity to do some really good for the young people in schools and colleges starting at 14 to 18, to let them see what a great place fleet is, and basically and making it easy to how we can do it. And I said, Ronnie said, like, how do we help all our members? So by sharing best practice together. So I was passionate about helping everyone else get on that mission as well. So back to you, Ronnie.
Brilliant. Thanks, Judy. And everything that we achieve here today and beyond this session, we do want to create some resources to share with each other. And Judy's very kindly shared some of the resources she has already. So that's what we can look forward to sharing afterwards. So after Judy and I had met, we got talking and working together with our teams, we wanted to try and understand, well, let's not reinvent the wheel. What exists out there already that we can harness, that we can work alongside, who can we collaborate with? Because we wanted to make it simple but effective and good quality. So after a little bit of searching, we came across a company called Futures for All and submitted a form to say, what you're doing looks really interesting. This is who we are. Maybe we could have a conversation. And then we found Ian. So since had quite a few really productive meetings with Ian, and we were so delighted to find an organisation out there, a social mobility charity that shares many of the same values as the AFP, with us being a not-for-profit, and just really aligned on what could be achieved. The great news is Futures for All have that platform, and we were really surprised at how easy it was to get started. And the AFP have already signed up as a social mobility charity, mobility partner with Futures for All. So I'd love to introduce you to Ian and hand over to you, Ian, so you could perhaps just spend a little bit of time sharing with us who your organisation are, what you do, how you do it, and then we can start to get into how our members might be able to get involved.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ronnie, and thanks, Judy. Right, a couple of really good acts to follow from there. Ronnie, everyone has access to the chat, don't they?
Yes.
I love to be interactive because no one wants to hear me talk solidly for 25 minutes, especially me. So if everyone has or are near their keyboards, we're going to start with a little bit of a quiz because I think it's important to set the scene. So I just want percentages in here. So the first question is, what percentage of employers face challenges, and this is across the UK, in attracting and recruiting talent? So what percentage of employers face challenges attracting and recruiting talent? Heather, 65%. Tab, oh, interesting. Tom. Judy and Ronnie, please feel free to have a guess.
I'm in.
Tom, you get the prize. You get the prize. It is actually 76%. So 76%, which is quite scarily big. So on that, next one then, what percentage of UK businesses suffer from skills shortages? Answers in the chat. Heather straight in with 85. Patricia, 70. I like the fact everyone's not going with zeros or fives.
Yeah.
Paul, a prize is on its way to you. It is actually 73%. And then last, but by no means least, and I think this really links in with what Judy and Ronnie so passionately articulated, what percentage of young people leave school without any work experience? So the answer to that one, no one's actually got it. So let's see who's close. Paul and Patricia, I think you share the win for that. So prize is on its way to you both. So the answer is actually 50%. So 400,000 young people leave school each year without an experience of any work experience. And I think we can all agree those stats really hammer home. So as I said, my name's Ian. My role is Head of National Business Development for Futures for All. So Futures for All, we're the UK's largest social mobility charity and provider of work experience. We were founded in 2010 by Robert Peston, ITV's political editor, with the aim of wiping out educational inequality and offering young people across the UK, so we do work across the UK, access to fantastic opportunities. We were, up until September, called Speakers for Schools. We have now rebranded to Futures for All, but we still have our Speakers for Schools programme, which I'll go into shortly. So we've been going now just over 16 years. However, we experienced exponential growth during COVID. So we went from a team of 8 to 140 in 18 months. So we experienced considerable growth in a very short period of time. And as I said, we work with schools and colleges across the UK. We currently work with around about 2,200, 2,300 active schools and colleges across the UK. There is no charge to the schools and colleges that we work with through the way that we are funded through AL philanthropies to the schools and colleges we work with, because we can't be a charity that focuses on educational inequality and then in the same breath charge schools. So we fund that. So essentially there is no cost to the schools and colleges from there. And guys, please feel free. I want to keep this interactive. And Judy and Ronnie, please feel free to jump in whenever you'd like. Yeah, essentially UK's largest social mobility charity and provider of work experience. And we are continuing to grow in terms of our offerings of work experience. That is both face-to-face, that is both virtual and hybrid. We work with a range of organisations, to national and global partners, to quite a few SMEs. So to give you context in terms of the amount of organisations that we work with, in the academic year 23-24, we worked with 215 organisations who provided anything from a one-day session to a 3 to 5 day session. Last academic year, we were fortunate enough to work with 289 businesses, so quite a considerable increase of organisations. And what that allows us to do is offer a range of opportunities for young people, but also work with lots of organisations across the UK to support their needs. Now, that may be visibility, that may be their CSR targets, it might be the ESG, it might be talent pipeline, might be apprenticeship visibility. So we work with them in order to meet their specific goals to offer fantastic opportunities. Judy.
I just want for everyone, I guess what's really important in terms of what you do, actually you make it easy for people like us or companies like us, because one of our biggest barriers or challenges, and it is for the schools, around how do we make sure we get through all the different rules and governance around that, whereas you kind of address all that. And I think it'd be really good to explain to everyone how simple you make it for us all.
Of course, no pressure again then, no pressure again. So yeah, going on from that comment of Judy, look, I focus on, if I look at an organisation on their own, if it's anything from a large corporate to an SME, if you want to engage either local or national young people and you're doing it solo, it's probably going to be with your local school or college. What do you need to do in order to be able to do that? Number one, you need to call the school. Number two, you need to get past the gatekeeper. Number two, you need to go in. Number three, you need to design a talk. Number four, you actually need to go in and deliver the talk. So that's lots of time, energy, and resource. And can you be sure that these young people are going to all be interested? The answer from me would be a resounding no. And that's nothing against the fleet industry, because I think it's a brilliant, exciting industry that we don't do enough of. But it will just be young people shoehorned. And I'm fairly confident in saying that because my background is teaching and educational quality assurance. And that's nothing against teachers. It's just the teachers will organise it with you as an organisation for the talk. The majority of young people for that will not be involved. So it's not be as engaged as you would like. So what we try and do with our offering, we try and flip that on its head. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen shortly just to show you how we do what we do. And please feel free, I can see the chat here, so please feel free to ask any questions. How we work with our network of around about 2,200, 2,300 schools and colleges, they are already active. So for us, as Judy was saying, we do the legwork to put you in front of those young people, be it face-to-face, hybrid or virtual. So for me, it's more 10% of your time and effort for that 90% of the reach and the impact. Because for me, going back to Ronnie's point at the very start, it is about meaningful, high quality work experience. And it's dispelling the, not myth, because we've all been there, it's dispelling legacy that surrounds work experience to a certain degree. So everyone has their own work experience story, right? If you guys just want to pop in the chat what you did for your work experience, I worked in retail, and believe it or not, I was exceedingly shy when I was young. So it's probably the opposite. Well, maybe it was a challenge, or maybe it was probably the worst possible place I could have been put. But everyone has a work experience story, and they normally think it is 2 weeks it's either making the tea, doing the photocopying, and it's one staff member for a lot of time, effort, and resource. And we try and flip that on its head. So modern work experience now can be anything from 2 to 5 days, but there's lots of different entry points, lots of different iterative entry points we can jump in. Let me just take some time to have a look what people did, because I think this is important. Day nursery, commis chef, traffic police. WH Smith still going? Are they still going? I used to love
No,
WH Smith. Go.
No, but they had a travel shop all those years ago. But yeah, it was many years ago.
Oh, too long, wasn't it? So regardless, what we can see in here is that everyone has their own work experience story. And as Judy says in the chat, it's us trying to make it as easy as possible for you. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Leisure Centre, Chris, that's in line with me. Actually, one of my first proper jobs after Burger King was working at Leisure Centre, and I loved it. And I stayed there for at least 8 years, actually. Brilliant job. Much better than Burger King. Other fast food restaurants are available. So I'm just going to share my screen, and Ronnie, Judy, please feel free to jump in. So can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is our website. As you can see, we have our work experience programs, and we also have our speakers for schools. So I'm going to start on our speakers for schools because I just want to start on the simplest possible place and then move forward. So our speakers for school side of things, you can see in here is essentially between our inspirational. So number one is face to face. So we work, and this is where we started. We work with our network of around about 1,400 eminent individuals. Now, these individuals are normally high level within their organization. We do have some famous speakers. So Louis Theroux, Deborah Meaden, Gabby Logan, for example, within there. But it is not just famous, it is successful people in their industries, and that is across industries. Could be from fleet, could be from construction, could be from sport, could be from presenting. Essentially, these individuals donate their time and they donate their travel at least once a year to deliver a talk to a school. Now, these talks can be anything from Chalk and Talk, where it's just an hour to a year group, to a fireside chat where the teacher would just sit with the individual and talk them through their career, whatever they're comfortable with. And then the second side of things, which for me could be our first starting point, something Judy and I and Ronnie discussed briefly, is our broadcasts. And these are the virtual side of things. So you can see on here, you've got our broadcast. Now, our broadcasts are 1 hour long. We, as the speakers for school side of the business, provide a host, and it's essentially just a very brief hour on what you wanted to talk about. So, for example, the AFP could do one with Openreach, all about apprenticeships within fleet. So you can see here, we've got a range of talks, and they are run traditionally from 10 to 11 or 2 to 3 during term time only. But you can see already that they are very varied, even the top 3, in terms of what we offer. So if we just go on to Zoe's here, all it is a very brief synopsis about Zoe's career, what she wants to do, and getting people into careers in motorsport. From there, traditionally, staff members book it and stream it to their class. However, young people can apply individually. So for me, this is a first step. It's an hour out of your time. Again, we provide the support from there, but it gives you the first step on making a difference and supporting young people where time may be a premium. Does that all make sense from the speakers for school side of things so far?
Yep.
And please feel free to pop any questions in the chat. So just to recap, the speakers for school side of things is essentially, for me, split into 2. So number 1 is our speaker network of 1,400 eminent individuals across the UK, and our virtual talks. So you can also see from there, we do have a talks library. So these talks are recorded, and you can see the range of talks that we have. You can please feel free to nose through these at your leisure. These are open to all. So you can see the range, and you can also see, for me, the range of organisations that we work with. And again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop those in. The second side of things is our work experience. So our brand new work experience finder, which we launched in September, essentially allows businesses, educators and young people to access work experience. Now, again, just to reiterate, we offer this to state-funded educational organisations. So it's not just schools, it's schools, colleges, alternative provisions, SEND schools, so anything that is state funded. And again, there is no charge from there. So this is our work experience finder. And within the work experience finder, I always use Flamingo Land because it's my favourite, but I'm going to move down as we go. You can see on here when they're being delivered. You can also see we've got 86 at the moment. What type of opportunities is. So for the purpose of this, we want to align it with what we do. I'm remote based, as you can see. So we want to align that in terms of remote based. These are all, to be really clear, these are all live. All our work experience opportunities are live. They are not recorded, and predominantly young people apply individually. So you're not getting that groupthink and the comfortability sometimes you get by just streaming it to the class. They're all individually applied for, and we have 2,200 to 2,300 active schools and colleges with us. So there's a wide range of opportunities. And I think this year our average attendance across the board for all our placements we've delivered is just north of 60 young people per session. So if we just scroll through, you can see we've got a range. And I'm going to click on to this, and you can see each opportunity will have the same foundation in terms of an overview and what you're going to do. So for me, adverts need to be really short, sharp and sexy, because you really want to take yourself back to your 15, 16, 17-year-old self and think, actually, what's going to interest me? Actually, I think if there's loads of text, even if we were looking at that, you lose some of the attraction with it. So it's what the young people are going to get to it. Make it as simple as possible, make it as attractive as possible. And from talking to Ronnie and from talking to Judy, there's definitely plenty of fantastic careers in Fleet. I think, Ronnie, from our first conversation, I learned that Fleet was anything from horses to aeroplanes, right? And everything in between.
Yeah,
Most young people won't know that. And I think for me, that is super important. And that's nothing against the educational system. That's nothing against teachers. It's just with the time that teachers have, having been there and done that, I can comment in it. Having that time, they need it to be relevant, and they can't have knowledge of every single thing. So this is very much a signposting resource to help young people access fantastic opportunities that isn't necessarily well-meaning nepotism, that isn't just done through a network, isn't done through an old boys or old girls network. It's something where young people can access this and really experience a range of opportunities. Judy, Ronnie, anything to add?
No, I think I can't wait for Fleet to be on here. I just put in the chat, and I think within all our organisations, as Ronnie and we're talking about, actually we're such a diverse across so many industries that there's bound to be something to excite some individual. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think from my side, what it's opened my eyes up to since I met you, Ian, is that my daughter's in college. And she worked really hard when she was at school to get a piece of work experience that was really aligned to the subject she was studying. She really wanted to make it count. She was very fortunate. But now she's in college and working towards a university application. I can see how competitive the world of work is, how competitive it is to get into a particular uni and study a particular subject. Everything you put on your CV matters. So what she signed up to is this variety, this hybrid mix of work experience that would never have been available to me, and I certainly wasn't made aware of in school. That work experience on your CV can be anything from a 2-3 hour virtual session to then one day in an office in a working environment, and you can really get a good blend and a good insight because of the virtual opportunity. What I love about this is the standard and the quality of the virtual opportunity, rather than it just being a video for someone to watch. So that's my takeaway on what you said so far.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think from there, Ronnie, some really good points, right? It doesn't have to be 5 days, doesn't have to be 2 weeks. It can be anything from kind of those shorter insight sessions. to the 2-day sessions, and that means it doesn't have to be the same person just presenting all the time. We do provide levels of support from there. So essentially, regardless of the size of the business, we can work with you. The majority of the businesses that we work with produce these opportunities at no cost. There are costing models, which we can go into should you wish, but the majority are funded by us because we are here to really support young people in the range of opportunities. So you can see that we've got, I think, 86 opportunities that are currently live to young people across the UK. I wanted to also bring your attention to these orange banners here. So these are for organizations that, let's say you already offer your own work experience, you're happy with it, and you just want to increase the reach by putting it on a website. It's literally just a case of clicking on here, and it's just a simple due diligence form to make sure everything is safeguarded and GDPR compliant. And instead of taking it to our main website, as, so for example, you can see this opportunity, this would take you to our portal. This opportunity here with Framestore will take you direct to their website. So if you're already running one, you can do that. And again, just to reiterate, our aim is to offer a fantastic range of opportunities, both run through us. And if everybody else is running those and they want to advertise, there is the opportunity to do that on their website. So as you can see, we have quite a few external ones. We have quite a few remote. We will have face-to-face and hybrid in there, but there's always going to be that variety, and they run throughout the year. It's not your traditional, let's get to the end of the year and get all our work experience done. We offer these from September through all term, through half term, and we do have some that go in our summer holidays as well. So again, just to go back, you can see really varied opportunities as we go down. And you've got an in-person.
While you're scrolling down, I just think it'd be amazing as an industry if we could really champion this, and obviously with the AFP to say, look, this is something we're doing for the betterment of the young people. I think the more of us that can get involved in it, the better.
Brilliant. Thanks, Judy. And then from here, you can just see, just to go back to these, an opportunity with Slaughter and May, one of our partners, and this offers careers in law for the young people that really need it, working alongside their prime directives to really support the young people who may not have access to this otherwise. And that's one of our key things as a charity. We want to be able to give young people access to opportunities that they wouldn't have access to in the first place. And it's breaking down geographical, it's breaking down sociological, and it's also breaking down economic barriers to offer these young people, regardless of where they're placed, whether it is a very small rural village, whether it is a coastal town, or whether it is London. It's being able to give those young people, wherever they're based throughout the UK, a fantastic opportunity, and they just apply going through our portal. So I would describe it as the best way to describe it is a smaller version of the UCAS. So the young person applies, it goes to their teacher. The teacher then completes some details. So within that, we can see the student need scores. And that ranges from very high need students. So it's measured on things like, are they a carer? Are they in care? Do they have any special educational needs? Is English a second language? So you can really see the level of young person you are supporting. From there, we do provide impact data to show that reach, to show the demographic impact, and in some cases to really illustrate that qualitative impact as well as the quantitative impact from there. Once the young person has applied, once the teacher has completed the form, it then goes to the employer, who then says yes or no with the young people. And within that, the employer doesn't see discernible details because we are GDPR compliant. So you've got very, as Judy was saying, it's very straightforward, very simple to do. It's not your 2 weeks. Very simple, very straightforward. Here's how to do it. Here's how to get involved, and we can provide an additional level of support from there. This one's a little bit longer, but Slaughter and May are very, very clear in what they want to be able to offer. And then we work alongside. Ronnie, I know you mentioned the building of softer skills. So especially within a competitive market, we work alongside the Skills Builder framework to help develop additional skills for the young people, sometimes that are lacking, where the pressure is on gaining those academic qualifications. Sometimes this is left behind, and then the young people apply through our portal from there. You can also see, just finally to bring this to an end, you can see on here we do have our partner directory. So hopefully, there you go, right at the top, Ronnie.
Yay.
You can see our social mobility partners, all of who are supporting, keyword here, supporting work experience. And that can be anything from the AFP, who are delivering this webinar, all the way through to a multi-academy trust who might be saying to their schools in the trust, here's Futures for All, they can support you, to organisations that deliver work experience. So you can see here a range of organisations that work with us. And again, please feel free to browse through at your leisure. So just to kind of recap, within Futures for All, UK's largest social mobility charity and provider of work experience, we offer in essence 2 programs. So the first one is the Speakers for School side of things. So that is split down into our face-to-face speakers, eminent individuals, to our 1-hour virtual broadcast, who anyone essentially can deliver. And then we have our work experience. So work experience goes from anything from a 1 to 2 day work experience to a 5-day work experience, and that is both face-to-face, virtual and hybrid. Within there, again, as I said, we provide an impact report at the end of work experience. Work experience is the level of detail ranges from a 1-page summary report to a 10-12 report, depending on the level of investment from the organisation, but every organisation will receive at least that 1-page summary report within that. How you can get involved. You can get involved by, if you're a smaller business, for example, you don't have the time or resource, by delivering a multi-employer. So it might be for 3 days, 1 employer would deliver each day, or looking at careers in fleet, and that transcends different industries, because I can imagine, although you are all in fleet, the industries that you are in may differ. Or you could do, hopefully, what Judy's looking to do with Openreach and deliver a work experience program. We can provide additional support to make it, as Judy said, and I'm going to finish on this, to make it as easy as possible for you. And again, the key is here, when you're working on your own, 90% for 10% of your impact and reach. Working with us, that flips on the head, 10% of your time, resource and effort to demystify work experience and really show you what modern work experience is, for that 90% of that reach, impact and effort. And I think that's about it, unless I've missed anything, Ronnie, Judy.
No, I think this is really simple, and maybe everyone can put in the chat what industry they're in, so we can see the diversity across the industries as well. But definitely, I'm really happy, as I said to Ronnie, to share my step-by-step process as well, because obviously bigger companies, there's lots of bureaucracy we have to follow and governance we have to follow, be compliant with, which again, this makes this easier because of the structure and everything that's in place. So Heather's civil service. Water. Hey Leah. Vehicle rental, education, like that just gives you an idea.
Perfect. Just to be clear, guys, as you're typing, that's really helpful to me. We can absolutely work with all of you within that. So Paul, for example, we worked with universities before. I really like to offer to show young people the careers that are out there, because if you think University of Cambridge, first thing you think of is very posh, and it would be elite to a certain degree, right? It would be, but you'd have no idea that you've got a fleet. I had no idea of that. And it's being able to show the range of organisations and the range of careers that are available.
I think the range of jobs in fleet, they're so varied as well, like from finance to resource planning to OEM and vehicle specs. I mean, it could attract any type of young person. Again, I genuinely, I think it's one of the best places I've ever worked. Not because the team are great, but just it's a great, exciting place to be.
Yeah,
100%. And for me, just going back to that, Judy, it's demystifying, right? Tom, I'm going to media. If people think about media, right, you just think the top line. You just think it's essentially being very creative, creating adverts, TV shows, things like that, media campaigns, when actually there's a lot more to it. It's like my background is sport to a certain degree. And you think sport is essentially the first thing that comes into your head is probably football and just being a sportsman. Actually, there's so much more for it. There's so many interconnecting parts. So I really like the variety in this, because it allows us to show essentially that golden thread of fleet flows through every single industry. And I love the variety. So thank you.
Yeah, that's why it always makes it so interesting in the AFP for us to really understand the challenges that our fleets face across so many different industries. It really does create a rich environment for sharing information, and certainly we will help to support with that through this programme. Maybe, Ian, just before we get into, I know you've got a few slides to close up with for sort of next steps, but maybe paint a picture for everyone. If people are sat here thinking, well, great, I've already got a work experience programme, what does it cost for them to get involved? And someone else sat there thinking, we've got nothing, but I really, really want to do this. What might that look like?
Yeah, perfect. If you've got your own work experience program, brilliant. We are more than happy to share that work experience program, provided it is engaged at the age group we are looking for. So that would be the 14 to 19. If it is face to face, it would either need to be 14 to 16 or 16 to 19 to align with our offer. All you need to do is speak to me. It's essentially you complete a simple due diligence form. You then register on our portal. I would then create the advert for you. Takes a grand total of about half an hour for me to do that. And then it's up. I'll just share that with you. And then it's up and it's within access of all those young people that we work with.
But I'm right in saying, Ian, that there's no cost for that, is there?
No cost to that. No cost
And
to
I'm
that.
making that point because most of the people on this call will spend their lives talking about cost and expenses. So it might be unusual to them that there is no cost to do that. So that's like a plug in and play, get started straight away. You've
100%.
already got your program. So what if I haven't got a program and I want to advertise, I want to be on those tiles on your work experience page?
Yeah, I mean, there's. I'm going to try and simplify it for you. You've got I've got some ideas. I'm keen. I just need a little bit of support with it. If you want to do that, you can offer 2 to 3 placements a year of no cost. So that would be termly, so one each term, because you don't want to saturate with opportunities because you miss the wood for the trees. We can support that. Once we've had that chat, I would then connect you with an account manager who would then go through that process with you in terms of that support, just to kind of give a little bit more depth than what I've talked about, like the ins and outs, should we say. If you're sat there thinking, you know what, I do have budget, which would be fantastic. We've got budget set aside for this. We provide additional layers of support. So, for example, for the virtual side of things, additional layers of support look like compare exactly what we're doing now. So hosting the session. We've got content creation, which can be anything from creating your PowerPoints to creating student workbooks to actually this looks all right, and everything in between. We do also offer like background hosting. So background hosting would be doing the slides for you, making sure everyone's coming in, making sure everybody's registered, making sure the staff have had training so they know how to utilize things. So it's not just, as I was saying earlier, it's not just one person sitting there doing everything. Then we have our event coordination. So event coordination, we do the advert, we do the entire application process for you. So you don't need to do anything apart from tell us what you're looking for. We can do geographical, we can do radius, and we can do specific school targeting for you, should you want to be a bit more bespoke. And then we also have, so those 4 things are your host, so your compare, your background host, your event coordination, and your content creation. Within those costed services, we offer a much deeper look in terms of your impact report. So within that impact report, that again is, we charge for this. Within the impact report, you have your quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data, essentially demographics, reach, but also the summarizing of the pre and post surveys the young people do, any feedback direct from the session that we bring in there. So if you are showing it to SLT, if you want to show proof of concept, things like that, it's a very top line. Here's what you've done. Here's the quantitative impact. Here's the qualitative impact. Here's everything mixed together from there. So
really flexible, depending on what people want and need and the size of their organisation. Yeah. And Judy, do you want to share what you've done so far? Because you've made a little bit of progress, haven't you, with Ian and Futures for All?
Yeah, we've kicked it off, literally. We had a really good call last week. We've got a session with HR internally to say this is what we're doing, how we're doing it. And actually, I mean, for us as well, because we do build, as you know, fibre build, this is a good contribution towards what we're doing for the communities, etc. So we can record that. So again, it's something you guys might want to do and saying what you're doing for, you know, social benefit to society. You can report that and use that for your taglines as well. We're planning with my team on next Monday and Tuesday, exactly what we're going to do, who we're going to do it with. And the other thing that Ian made really easy, like I said, look, what I want to do is make sure it's easy for my team to get comms out to the schools. And Ronnie knows, if anyone that knows me, they know I love governance and standard practices and all that kind of thing. So Ian's kindly shared, like, you know, the standard comms that one would send to a school or a college, to basically promote this, you know, within your employees' workforce as well. So again, I genuinely, I think it was all inspiring when we found Ian. So well done to Ronnie and the team. And it makes all our life a lot easier. And it takes a lot of the work that I was going to do away from what we're doing, where I start sharing documents. It's all there already with Ian, including on the websites, and it's all very professionalized. So I think from a branding, from a professional setup, good for the community and charity, and really important. This is about the young people. So this is about giving young people a chance that potentially would maybe not alternatively have gotten a chance to understand what happens in Fleet and how exciting it is.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. So any questions, people, you want to pop in the chat box? I know perhaps Ian's just going to wrap us up with a couple of slides. If you've got any questions about anything that's been mentioned so far, please feel free to pop that in the chat box. And once Ian shared his slides, I've also got a link to a form that I'll share with you if you'd like to stay in contact with us at the AFP about this topic, because we will be looking to host an AFP Work Experience Week. So if you wanted to get involved with that and maybe just run a session on a Monday of that Work Experience Week, there could be an opportunity for that. So I'll share that link in a moment, and you can let us know whether you want to stay in touch.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ronnie. Matthew, I'm going to steal that little tagline that you've put in there. I hope you don't mind. We keep businesses moving, because I actually think that's really simple but powerful. I think that's the key. And just coming back to everything, this for me is how we can help you solve your problems in the simplest possible way, because the more that you will understand it and see how you can work with us, the more you're likely to do it. It's copyrighted. I can't steal it just yet then. Right, okay, so you should be able to see the slides. Heather, in your point, we can absolutely help and we can absolutely support with that. So it's all about making it as easy as possible for you, so you can see essentially what I see in terms of, I've been with the charity now for over 5 years. It's showing how engaging it can be. It's showing that virtual can still be very, very engaging. And with the young people applying from different places, that just really ramps up and increases everything, and the gratitude of the young people, and also the ideas that they may come out with. But anyway, I could talk about this all day. This won't be anything different. And I will pick this up. This essentially gives you a little bit of brief of who we are as a charity. Most of this I cover, but please feel free to just read through as I go. Paul, I'm just picking up your question as we go. I think it has been. I think definitely coming out of COVID, Paul, in answer to your question, there was a definite reticence, but I think that went hand in hand with the workforce slowly coming back to work. I think for me, if we're looking at I think that for me has moved on now, or I'd like to think it's moved on. I speak to a lot of businesses day on day, week on week, and month on month. I think for me, we're starting to see a shift back to face. What I do think is a blocker for me, and what I've seen, is that people still think work experience is 2 weeks and it's face to face, and they have a lot of reticence around that because of time and resource, and that especially in the climate we're currently living in, time is money, right? If we're looking at it really, really candidly. So for me, we are getting there, and that's where it's my job to be able to show actually it's not 2 weeks, it can be the 2 days. Sorry, Ronnie.
No, I was just going to add on to that for Paul's question. In my experience, seeing what my daughter went through and various friends, is that lots of people were turned away because they said we don't offer it because of insurance or DBS certificates where members of staff have to be checked to be able to work with children. So I do think that is still a blocker from some organisations, which means the hybrid approach can help to overcome some of those challenges.
Yeah.
And I think within that, both hybrid and the virtual side of things, where possible, where everything is equal, right? And this is put my quality assurance hat back on, where everything is equal, obviously face to face, yes. But if you can't access face to face, or you want to be able to attract that kind of really wide pipeline because people mobilize, right? I think virtual or hybrid is absolutely there for you. So in here, obviously my stats I used at the start, so why work experience matters. I'm speaking at an event at the end of April with regards to the talent gap. There is a talent and a skills issue across industry. I think if we don't address it, there's going to be long-term problems in there. And I think now, going back off what Judy was saying, it's a simple opportunity to be able to address it bit by bit, whether that is a 1 hour talk or whether that is getting involved with the AFP's work experience week. And again, why? Nothing that I haven't gone through, and this will be, I'll send this to Ronnie afterwards. Nothing that I haven't said on there. We've got our reach, support, and then that's why the options. So it just makes it really easy. Judy.
I think also the good thing about the hybrid, it's open to people with different disabilities as well. It doesn't have any boundaries. So I think that's another thing, that it actually can work across diversities and help young people that might be a little bit less wanting to go out in the workplace, but actually would be able to go online. So I think that's another advantage of it as well.
Brilliant. Doing my job for me is great. So here we can see we've got our three main whys, because we want to keep it as easy. We want to be at the same time, we appreciate that people have needs and businesses have needs. It's being able to really understand what your needs are and how we can help you best do them. Yes, people want to be altruistic, they want to give back, but they also have needs, and we combine that really nicely to be able to support you and support your needs, whatever they may be. And then we've got a partner directory, which I've been through, where the AFP are top of that at the moment. And then these are our talks. So essentially, this is the speakers of school side of things. Very, very straightforward. They're smaller, they're both face-to-face and virtual. And then our work experience offerings. So I've broken these down, you can see, and again, this is shareable. As we've talked about, the orange banners promoting your own experience program, which we've gone through. Manage partnerships, so that's utilizing our portal, and then how we can help you develop. So any questions on there, please let me know. I will pop my email in the chat shortly, but I can't multitask. And then the last bit is we're just looking at ways how we can support you, and again, can offer exactly the same. And then from there, we could deliver, as we talked about, our multi-employer work experience opportunity, which we are going to do, Ronnie, right? Which we are, change my language.
We are, yeah.
Which we are, get that action and commitment in there. Or you can deliver member only, as Judy's looking to go do from there. And
we can do both, just saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then just something that brings it to life. And I think this is the key. Young people are so grateful from what I've seen. And again, I've compared these opportunities. They are so grateful for these opportunities because the opportunities, as Ronnie articulated earlier, just aren't available to them. And being able to do this, you have the option, right, to change a young person's life. I truly believe this because it happened to me. You have the option to change a young person's life within one sentence, one comment. So that's a pretty magical place to be in.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that last comment from Joyce on that previous slide linked into what Judy said earlier about putting something on your CV that shows you've done something already, and feeling employable and having done something relevant. I see so many students panicking that they haven't got something that they think is of value to put on their CV. And it's hard for the schools to support them as well, which is where I think we can come in.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Brilliant.
Good.
If you would like to scan this, you can do, but whilst I do that, I'll also pop my email in there. So Ronnie, Judy, over to you guys.
Yeah, Judy, is there anything you want to share to wrap
No,
up before we?
thank everyone for taking the time out today to join. As we know, like, I'm quite passionate about this, but I think it'd be great if we could all kind of lean in and help make it something really special for some young people.
Yeah, agreed. And I've just popped in a form into the chat box where you can register your interest with us at the AFP, so we can keep talking to you as we make progress through this journey. We'll definitely be having an area on our members' website with some resources that will support you and help you, but also links to the slides that Ian shared with us today. So I hope you can see by what's been shared how excited we were to get involved with Futures for All. There's something for everybody. It's flexible, a good hybrid approach that helps businesses get involved, but in a way that suits them, but also attract a wide range of students. And of course, it doesn't then just become geographical either when you've got that hybrid opportunity. So a really good opportunity in so many different ways. So hope you found it helpful. We'd love to hear in the chat box if there are any outstanding questions or anything you'd like to see us doing next. There is an open comments box on the form. So if there's anything you think of that you'd like us to consider, this is all about gathering ideas and seeing what sort of appetite there is for this topic. We know we're passionate about it, but we just really wanted to connect with our members and take this forward together. So build this with us if you would like to get involved. So I think, unless there's any final messages, we will be sticking around for 5 minutes or so, won't we, Judy and Ian?
Yeah.
I'd just like to echo the comments about thank you for taking the time. Thank you for attending. The fact you're here means that you've got an interest in this topic, I'm sure, for young people and for your business. So thank you very much from our side for sharing your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Right, so Heather, yeah, on Fleet Apprenticeships, we have got an update coming out soon on this, so hopefully that will help. But there is a delay at Skills England on the progress we had made, but it is coming out as an update. I hope that helps. Thanks, Heather. So I think
Yeah. I don't know if